one of the things that you said about why you wanted to go to university was about the experience. So what is the experience like about being at university?
So I think in terms of just living away from home, sort of, that was really different for me. It was quite exciting, the independence of it, meeting lots of different people from different places, so people from across the country that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise. And then in terms of the work, the types of briefs that we're working on were very much like live working briefs. So that was really interesting. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just very fun. It was a lot of work, but it was very, very fun. You sort of discover a lot more about yourself and about the world generally. So yeah, it was an awesome experience. Yeah.
Great. And you spoke a bit then about having to do live briefs as part of your course. So can you just tell us a bit more about maybe some of the projects that you've worked on when you were at university?
Yeah, so we did, especially towards our second year of university, as part of sort of experience within industry. We worked on a lot of sort of industry competitions, so things like D&AD. There was like I think it's ISTD, which is like an international typographic design competition. Things with the Royal Art Society as well. So we did a lot of things where, okay, you might not have won the competition necessarily. Some people did, but just sort of being exposed to that industry standard and knowing the type of work that people expected as well. So we did a lot of that. I think one of my favourite projects of all time was in my first year, where we were working on creating our own typefaces, and so having to research the history of typography and fonts, and just sort of realising that there's actually a lot of thought that goes into that process. It's actually very difficult. And so, yeah, one of our projects was to create our own typeface, which was really exciting, and then use that for publication and present that. So, yeah, the variety was just endless.
Yeah, as I said, and again, it's about having that experience to work to live briefs, because that's, I guess you're explaining the careers section in a bit, but that's what, you know, that's what it's like to work in the industry. You work to live briefs, and it gives you, I guess, is it almost like just, yeah, it's growing those skills in you and showing you this is what you need to do, and you just, the more that you practice, the more that you get better at it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it exposed me to all the different opportunities that also stem off of graphic design. So I sort of thought as graphic design as one single thing, but realizing that the role of a graphic designer is actually very broad, and it can stem off into animation, it can stem off into marketing, it can stem off into publishing, it can stem off into like working for a type foundry where you're making typefaces, and I wouldn't have known that at all. So we were able to we sort of went on cycles almost, where we got to do bits of work that related to all these different areas of graphic design, which was really valuable.
Yeah, it's like a really wide-ranging experience to help you decide what you want to do in the future, which is great. You spoke a little bit just then about, you know, the typography and how you found that really interesting, looking into the history. Were there any other modules or subjects that you studied that you found really interesting or fascinating, to study?
Yeah, I mean, there were the really practical and fun sides to sort of things like motion graphics and doing things around GIFs and things like that, which can be really useful for sort of social media marketing and things like that. But it was just fun. So we'd take something really simple and apply really practical skills to that. So with the GIFs, it might be, I think we were given like a word, just a random word from the dictionary, and we had to create a movement that related to that word. We did some pretty strange projects. but the outcome was always amazing. Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, I never thought to do this. So we give them like a word, and we had to create like a movement that related to that word and make that into a GIF. And like we did things like the sound of summer, where we'd sit outside for an hour and record the sound and then make that sound into an animation using shapes and colour. And so it taught us to really think creatively. Like when you're approaching a brief, sometimes you can get really stuck and be like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do, but that there are really creative ways to work around that and to form something that's actually really exciting. So I think the motion side of things was like phenomenal.
Yeah,
really interesting.
I mean, it's great to create your own GIFs.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, how did university help you in your, obviously in your personal development and also in your career development?
Yeah. Okay, so personal development, as I said, like the way I thought creatively really helped me with that, creative thinking. It helped me on the networking side of things, because as I said, we did a lot of competition, so meeting people. We also had a really useful thing where they would send out job opportunities. We had like an internal website on our course that send out little jobs. It might be, if someone wants a poster, but it would be for like a local radio station in Bristol or something like that. They want a poster. So it offered that exposure that I probably wouldn't have. I mean, I could have, but it was just another way of accessing work and just volunteering, even sometimes volunteering and things like that. So that was really useful. And then in terms of my career, I mean, it set me up with valuable things in the sense of, so last year we had to do things like pricing our work, even though I wasn't freelancing at the time, and we had to go through and do things like pricing and CVs, how to put together a portfolio, how to put together like a covering letter, and sort of what agencies, if you wanted to work in an agency, what they want to see. We did lots of interviews with local designers just to see how they got to where they were and the type of work that they do. So that was really valuable to sort of hear from people in the industry. So yeah, I guess that answers it.